Okay, let's look at the second way of creating a map. And this way we're going to go in through an individual property. So we're going to go to listing locator here, 121658886. And when we run a search, it's going to bring us to what looks like the property listing detail. But we're actually still in the search results. The reason I make a point of this is that there's a missing icon here that we're going to use. You can actually do what you want from here by clicking on this globe icon, but instead let's click on the listing number, and when that comes up it's going to be the listing detail. You can tell because it tells you up in the top left, and on every single listing where you're in the listing detail you will have this interactive map button up at the top right. We're going to select that. It's going to bring us to a map for the property with just this one property shown. And notice that it's shown us the approximate position of the property. It's also shown us the boundary of the lot lines. Now, since we can see this parcel, wouldn't it be nice if we could see other parcels? Well, if we come up here into map layers and check parcels, we will be able to. And you'll see that as we run our mouse across each of these properties, it's going to show us the address and the owner's name. And when we click on a property, it's going to show us either 3 or 4 hyperlinks. Now, for every property, you're going to get 3 hyperlinks. You're going to get the tax information, the county plat map, and the property report. Where a property has been listed, you're going to get a 4th hyperlink, which is the property history. It doesn't mean the property is listed at this time. When you click on it, it's going to come up and you can see that this one was actually sold in 2009. But if it's in our history, and remember our history locally goes back about 17 years, across all of Southern California it goes back a minimum of 10 years. So if it's been listed at all in our history, you will see that information reflected. Now, since we can see these parcels, wouldn't it be nice if we could maybe print some labels for the owners? Let's say we want to do a very quick, open house postcard or something. You can. You press and hold the control key, that's Command on a Mac, and then you select the properties that you want to include. And as you select them, you'll see that they're being added over on the right-hand side. And when you're ready to print, all you have to do is come up here to print labels, and they'll be printed out for you. Don't you love it when you get that? Well, what should happen is they should be printed out for you on Avery 5160 labels. So there you go. We'll clear that. Now, we're looking at the street view. You can tell that up at the top left it says street view. You can also look at an aerial view or a hybrid view. The difference is that the hybrid is the aerial view but with the major street names shown, usually slightly more useful. And as you zoom in, you'll see you continue to have the property boundaries all the way through to the maximum resolution. So, not quite all the way through. There is also a button called Bird's Eye View. Now, we saw this before when we were looking for our client in the client portal. Here, the Bird's Eye View is slightly different. You can zoom in, and the 4 different camera angles this time are like on a compass rose. So this is south looking north, north looking south, west looking east, and then finally east looking west. So again, you can get a pretty good idea of the property before you ever leave your desk. Let's click on street again, and we'll go back to map layers, and you'll see that parcels is checked. And as I zoom out, and by the way, I'm doing that with my wheel mouse. A mouse really makes life a whole lot easier. As you zoom out, all of a sudden those parcels will disappear. Okay, so we've got the parcels. I click one more time and they're gone. Notice that parcels is still checked up here in the top right, but it's now grayed out. So if there's something that you're not seeing, likelihood is you're at the wrong magnification. So just try, zooming in and it'll probably just come back. Let's look at a tool that I find especially useful for open houses. What's one of the first questions you get asked at an open house? How much is that house around the corner? Well, here you can not only show the houses around the corner, but when you click on them, you can show the details, and if you go to the listing, you can show the full information, including the photos for the property. So you can be doing an open house and you can have a slideshow playing for a house around the corner, or you can show someone who walks in the house around the corner. Okay, let's go back to our map. All right. Now there are many other things that you can show. So this is showing listings. You can show pending listings. Obviously those are in escrow, and when you run your mouse over it, it will give you the basic information. Again, you can click through and get more information. You can even use this for rentals. So if you're working with a tenant, you can use this to show rentals that are available, and as you run your mouse over it, you will get the information on what the rental is, and then when you click, you'll get more information, including the ability to click all the way through to the listing itself. You can show open houses. Now this is a tool that our listing agents don't use nearly enough. Good Lord, not a single one on that map. There is, there's one. This is a great tool that will show clients what hours you're open, and it gives you the ability to put in your own notes. Janice doesn't have any notes on that one. Here we go. Please come by and see for yourself. Rare find, you know. Okay, so a very useful tool. You can look at expireds. You can look at various different off-market categories. I'm going to leave this here and go in the third way. So remember, the first way we went in was we went in through a group of properties, any group of properties. The second way we went in was through an individual property. The third way we're going to go in is with no property. And what we're going to do is go to Maps, Map Explorer. Now this is going to take us to the exact same tool, but this time we will have no property as a starting point. And this is a really easy way of starting a conversation with a seller, for example, or with a buyer. I mean, doesn't matter which. So you can zoom in and you can say, okay, we're looking at Lucra Center here, and you can show them what is available on the market, and you can run your mouse over them and discuss price, and then click in, and then click all the way through to the listing if you want to. And you can do that for all the things we've seen. Let's go down and look at some of the things we didn't stop and look at. You can look at, for example, properties that have sold in the last 6 months. People say nothing's happening. Well, just look at that. There seems to be a whole lot happening. And if we scroll down, I keep using my wheel mouse, and I didn't mean to. We can come down, and one of the tools that people find especially useful is the Notice of Default. Now, when you click this, it's going to show you icons for properties that are in default. I chose the last 30 days. So these are properties that are a notice of default within the last 30 days. When you run your mouse over it, it's going to show you the basic information. When you click, it's going to give you more information still. And when you go to report, it's going to give you a full report that typically will include the phone numbers for the beneficiary and the trustee. And you can see that information here. So this is very useful. Now, of course, you can't automate it as you can with something like Foreclosure Radar, but it is free, and it is a very useful tool. Now, when it says that it shows you elementary schools, unfortunately it lies. It doesn't show you elementary schools, but it will show you the Unified School District boundaries. So, of course, you'll see the difference here between La Cañada and Glendale and Los Angeles and what have you. So, that's pretty much what I usually use it for. I mean, you can show landslide and liquefaction zones and all that good stuff if you want to show it. Land use in unincorporated areas. Gosh, I haven't seen that one before. I wonder if that one's just been added. Well, looks like it shows us something. Not entirely sure what, but there we go. Very good. So that was the third way of using mapping. Now, we were just looking at the map layers there. Let me come down and uncheck that before we move on. But you can also use other tools within it. So, we used previously the directions routing. Let's say that you have a client who wants to look at a property in a particular location. I'll use my office address. Good Lord. Isn't that terrible? Your mind stops. Rosemead. There we go. Thank you. Alright, and when I put it in, it's going to show it to me, and all you have to do is click and it will zoom you straight into it. Okay, so if your client says, well, what about this address? You don't have to show your ignorance hunting around for it, you can just type it straight in. You can also use this to zoom in to other communities, and as you know, we have information across the whole of Southern California. So if I take this to Port Hueneme, it's going to take us over to Port Hueneme, and we have a lot of the same information there in Port Hueneme as we have locally. So if I wanted to look at listings in Port Hueneme, I just check the button, and it's going to show me listings that are available in Port Hueneme. So very useful tool, and as I say, since we have data across all of Southern California, you can use it for a bunch of different things. So that's it for the mapping tools. Thank you.